If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. One of the major defining features of the narcissistic pattern is a lack of empathy. Now, frankly, there are some individuals who take that and they run with it all the way to the far extreme. They have an attitude of haughtiness and meanness and entitlement. And the net result is not only do they just have a lack of empathy, but there's a coldness about it, a cold-heartedness and a gross insensitivity. Now, one of the things I've done here for today is I've pulled out some illustrations that you all have given me, and these are real-life illustrations, and I want to show you what some of these individuals with this cold, insensitive mindset can say and do. And as I go through these, I want you to think, what are some of the situations or scenarios that you've been exposed to that might run parallel with this? Now, let me get right to it. One person writes in, my narcissistic ex-husband, I'm now divorced, decided that my then best friend was going to be his new love interest because I, quote, no longer checked all the boxes and she checked the ones that I was missing. Okay, there we go. Later, he told me, I don't mean to be disparaging, but she, my former best friend, is not much to look at. And that he could still, and I could still have sexual relations to help me heal from the breakup of our marriage. That's cold. That's heartless. And this man has no clue with respect to what what he might have done with those two different women. That's an illustration. Or another one relative to an extramarital affair. One friend to a woman who was bewildered after learning her husband had an affair said, well, I guess he just wasn't getting what he needed at home. And again, here you have a friend who's struggling, and that's what you come out with. That's that cold insensitivity. Or another illustration, this is a mother to an adult daughter who says, I really wish I hadn't had so many children, but don't take that personal. And then this woman said, and I'm child number 6 out of 6. Don't take it personal. Cold-blooded. Or how about this one? After breaking a leg in a car accident, almost requiring an amputation, one aunt says to this young man, I don't know what you did to deserve this, but obviously God was not pleased with you. I hope you're listening. That's the best you can come up with in a person's time of need. Or another one, an elderly relative is talking about something he saw on the news. And he says, well, what do you expect when a kid grows up and one parent is black? Sitting right there was a niece who was in an interracial marriage. Cold-hearted, stupid, cold-blooded, insensitive. Or another illustration, at a family gathering, one person says, plain and simple, if anyone voted for, fill in the blank, they're not welcome in my house and they're as good as dead to me. Okay. Grossly insensitive. Or how about this next one? A father to a 20-something-year-old daughter who did not finish college says, you've always been a disappointment to me, and you keep proving how much of a loser you are. I wonder if you've been on the receiving end of statements such as this. And when we look into that, we realize that those kind of statements or scenarios reveal much about that narcissist. They don't have any filter. They don't have any regard for the impact of the words that they leave on other individuals. These grossly insensitive narcissists have no connection with people at the heart level, and that's a gross understatement. In their mind, if you differ, then that means you must be defective. If you struggle, you are indeed that loser. If you're in pain, you must have brought it onto yourself. There's something wrong about you that tells us. If you have doubts, then that must mean that you're an intellectual lightweight. If you question me, the narcissist, Well, you have to be put into your place, which is beneath me. If your goals do not match mine, one of us is wrong. And guess who that one's going to be? There has to be conformity here, and I, the narcissist, am the one who decides what that means. And then finally, we can say that narcissist is implying I have zero need to hear from you. You don't know what you're talking about. Now, that's what they portray on the outside, but as a therapist who has walked through so many of these kind of cases, I realize there's a whole lot on the inside that's pushing them along that they will not admit to. And it's very essential, if you're on the receiving end of these cold-hearted statements, that you understand what it was really pushing these individuals, because it's not about you. They want to make it about you. But basically, that narcissist has such a need for superiority, regardless of the cost, that they obviously are in a compensation mode for their own sense of inadequacy. Beneath the surface, these individuals are simply not connected with reality. They anything that doesn't suit their narrative, they just dismiss as not real, when in fact, no, there's a lot of things out there that are real. You just don't want to have to come to terms with. Beneath the surface, their anger is dominant, as illustrated by their critical spirit, their agitation, their easy annoyance. They're very angry individuals, and that anger it has to come from somewhere, which takes us to the next thought, and that is these grossly insensitive people are pervasively fearful. They're threatened by you. When I say threatened, that's fear. And you'll notice that when you try to talk with them about some of the differences between you and them, they go immediately defensive. And those of you who are familiar with my way of thinking, defensiveness is the easiest way to see that a person is indeed fearful. Why do I have to throw up walls when you just try to talk to me about who you are? Beneath the surface, with these insensitive people, their relationship ineptitude is glaringly obvious. It's like, I don't know how to do relationships well. And so they just are very basic and primitive and childish, and no intent to insult a child in the way that they engage with people. These individuals beneath the surface mistakenly assume that intimidation is the best way to have influence. Go figure. They're very shame-based in the way that they think. Now, they're projecting shame onto you, but in fact, they're carrying the shame on the inside of themselves, and that's something that is a deep part of their personal history. To them, authoritarianism is quite appealing. One of their favorite phrases is, "Hey, I just tell it like it is." No, you don't, but you're just being very dominating and haughty. That's all it is. Clearly, they have very little reflective or analytical thinking. I mean, you don't say those comments like the ones that I illustrated. If you're any kind of a deep thinker at all, they have very little introspective ability. They're very black and white in the way that they approach life. And they operate with a very exclusive mindset as opposed to inclusive. Basically, the way that they look at relationship is there's a club here and I'm the president of that club, and let me see if I'll let you have admission. Probably not. And that's how they think. So it's natural that you would, I say this again, this an understatement, that you would react negatively to these individuals because on your side of the equation, I'm assuming that you value very different kinds of ingredients. Like you value intimacy, and you value connectedness. You value encouragement. You value honor. You value respect. You value civility. You value peace. And those kinds of ingredients that narcissist brings, both on the surface and then beneath the surface, have little to nothing to do with any of those things that you stand for. And so that being the case, let's see if we can draw some conclusions as to how you're going to respond, especially internally, to this cold-hearted, grossly insensitive narcissist. And first and foremost, let's just say, do not take your cues from a deeply troubled person. These individuals who have these grossly insensitive statements are damaged souls. There's something going on inside of them that's tragic that has brought them to the place that they are with you, and they're playing out their drama, and you happen to be on the stage with them But by all means, you don't have to let them be the director and the lead actor in your life script. And then in addition, we're going to say, don't even bother to waste your emotional energy trying to reform this person. If somebody's as insensitive as what I have described here, then most of them are beyond any kind of reformation. Keep that in mind. Likewise, then we're going to say, pull back. Listen to what your mind is saying. When you have these revulsed kind of reactions, your mind is actually trying to remind you, there's something that's much more valuable here in my life. Love is more desirable than hate. Listen to that. That's a good message. Curiosity is more desirable than a closed mind. Again, listen to what that has to say. Acceptance is more desirable than a judgmental attitude. Kindness is more desirable than harshness. Now, like I say, when people come at you with their cold and insensitive kind of comments and attitudes, it is normal for you to feel hurt and disillusioned, but in the end, let's keep one thing in mind, and that is someone in this world needs to be the presence of DRC, dignity, respect, and civility. That cold-hearted, underdeveloped narcissist is not going to be that person, but I like knowing that I can be a person that stands for that. That narcissist is not going to pull me off of that path. I hope that videos such as this can give you some good food for thought and give you an awareness of what you're dealing with so that you can plan your much better way of life. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. My buddy Gus and I will keep bringing more videos your way. Sometimes when Gus is not in the videos, you say, where's Gus? Usually he's right under here underneath my desk sleeping at another place. Anyway, we'll keep more videos coming at you. If you have a need for therapy, and I know that many times when you've been on the receiving end of this kind of treatment, it's good to have somebody that can help you sift these kind of things out. I'm so pleased to say that I'm sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below that will take you to their website, and there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you can choose from. If that's a need that you would have, I would strongly encourage you to seek that out. In addition, I've put together courses that are meant to have a therapeutic value. This is me, which is all about establishing boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers in your life, ready, set, connect, having healthy connection skills. And so if that would be something that you would be interested in, each course has multiple videos, written materials, questions. We also have a new podcast that's up and coming, so you might want to seek that out. We have books and other resources below. And so I'm so pleased that you allow me to be on your journey with you. Okay, these people can be grossly insensitive, but keep in mind what I said. Their insensitivities are not a commentary about you. That's for sure. It's about who they are and their lack of relational and emotional development. They're not mature people at all. That being the case, I'm hoping you can say, I am going to stand for the good things in life because I want to be a person of peace.